you all doing? I'm so sorry it's raining. But on a positive side of things, my garden was desperately in need of some water because the flowers were all starting to die. So it's a really good thing for them, but I hope it doesn't last very long. So with that in mind, you might see my puppy in a minute because he's wondering who I'm talking to. With that in mind, I thought I would find a book that we have all really enjoyed and giggled at quite a lot in Stepping Stones. There are several stories in here, so I will start at the beginning and I might do a few more over the coming weeks. It is, it's a really funny one, and it is called The Stinky Cheeseman and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. It's by John Scieszka and Lane Smith. I apologise profusely because I don't know how to say that name, but I'll make sure I write it in the little bit at the bottom in case you want to look for this book for yourselves. So I thought I'd bring my teddies along today. We all know about my teddies because I've got several of them. So these are my Build-A-Bears. This is Mr. Jared Snuggles. And this one doesn't have a name, but I tend to call her Belle. So if you have ever heard me talking about my teddies before, there you go, now you know who they are. So I thought I'd bring them down for a bit of story time today. So what I thought we'd start with is right at the very beginning of this book. It might seem a little bit strange when we're reading it because we found it a bit strange in Stepping Stones, but it gave us a good giggle. And I think on a rainy day like today, we need a good giggle. So let me get started. As you can see, there are some very random parts in this book, and the page starts upside down. So it says, this book is dedicated to our close, personal, special friend, and then you can insert your own name. I know, the page is upside down. I meant to do that. Whoever looks at that dedication stuff anyhow. If you really want to read it, you can always stand on your head. I'm not going to do that, but there we go. And the story begins with an introduction. A long time ago, people used to tell magical stories of wonder and enchantment. Those stories were called fairy tales. Those stories are not in this book. The stories in this book are almost fairy tales, but not quite. The stories in this book are fairly stupid tales. I mean, what else would you call a story like Goldilocks and the Three Elephants? This girl walking through the woods smells peanut porridge cooking. She decides to break into the elephant's house, eat the porridge, sit in the chairs and sleep in the beds. But when she gets in the house, she can't climb up on baby elephant's chair because it's too big. She can't climb on mama elephant's chair because it's much too big. And she can't climb up on papa elephant's chair because it's much, much too big. So she goes home. The end. And if you don't think that's fairly stupid, you should read Little Red Running Shorts or maybe The Stinky Cheeseman. In fact, you should definitely go read the stories now because the rest of this introduction just kind of goes on and doesn't really say anything. I stuck it onto the end here so it would fill up the pages and make it look like I really knew what I was talking about. So stop now. I mean it. Quit reading, turn the page. If you read this last sentence, it won't tell you anything. Signed by Jack. So here we go. We're going to start with Chicken Licken. Once upon a time, Chicken Licken was standing around when a piece of something fell on her head. She wasn't the brightest thing on two legs, so she started running around in circles, clucking. The sky is falling! The sky is falling! We must tell the president! Chicken Licken ran to her friend Ducky Lucky and clucked, Ducky Lucky, Ducky Lucky, the sky is falling! The sky is falling! We must tell the president! Let's go, quacked Ducky Lucky. Chicken Licken and Ducky Lucky ran to their friend Goosey Lucy and yelled, Goosey Lucy, Goosey Lucy! The sky is falling! The sky is falling! We must tell the president! Let's go, honked Goosey Lucy. So Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky and Goosey Lucy ran to their friend Cocky Locky and yelled, Cocky Locky, the sky is falling! The sky is falling! We must tell the president! Let's go, crowed Cocky Locky. Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Cried Jack the narrator. I forgot the table of contents. I forgot the table of contents. Hey, you're not in this story, said Chicken Licken. I know, said Jack the narrator. "But I came to warn you. The table of contents is—" "The sky is falling! The sky is falling!" clucked Chicken Licken. "We must tell the president." So Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy and Cocky Locky ignored Jack the narrator and ran off to catch a plane to Washington. Just outside the airport, they met Foxy Loxy. "Foxy Loxy, Foxy Loxy, the sky is falling! The sky is falling! We must tell the president!" yelled Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy and Cocky Locky. "Well, come with me," said Foxy Loxy. "I know a shortcut to the airport." Foxy Loxy led Chicken Licken, Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy and Cocky Locky to his cave. He didn't get to eat them, though, because Chicken Licken was almost right. Well, the sky wasn't falling. The table of contents was. It fell and squashed everybody. The end. And there is a table of contents right there. Now, I don't know if you want to hear any more, so feel free to pause it, but I am going to read just one more story called The Princess and the Bowling Ball, because I find these stories quite funny. They make me giggle. So here we go. Interesting picture. Don't know if you can see that on the camera. Once upon a time, there was a prince. And this prince's dad and mum, the king and queen, somehow got into their royal heads that no princess would be good enough for their boy unless she could feel a pea through 100 mattresses. So it should come as no surprise that the prince had a very hard time finding a princess. Every time he met a nice girl, his mum and dad would pile 100 mattresses on top of a pea and then invite her to sleep over. When the princess came down for breakfast, the queen would ask, "How did you sleep, dear?" The princess would reply, "Fine, thank you." And the king would show her the door. Now, this went on for 3 years. And of course, nobody ever felt the pea under 100 mattresses. Then one day, the prince met the girl of his dreams. He decided he'd better do something about it. That night, before the princess went to bed, the prince slipped his bowling ball under the 100 mattresses. When the princess came down for breakfast the next morning, the queen asked, "How did you sleep, dear?" "This might sound odd," said the princess, "but I think you need another mattress. I felt like I was sleeping on a lump as big as a bowling ball." The king and queen were satisfied. The prince and princess were married, and everyone lived happily, though maybe not completely honestly, ever after. The end. I don't know if you enjoyed those as much as I did, but they really, really tickle me, and I find them really quite funny. So I hope you enjoyed them. I know my little teddies did. And we look forward to sending you another video next week. Keep your eyes out for the staff video. That'll be coming on Wednesday. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And you are all doing fantastically well, so keep it up. See you soon.